conference will now be recorded.
All right. It's time to call to order the regular meeting of the McAllister City Council, Tuesday, March 9th, 2021. We do have a quorum, and we have Pastor Glenn Meyer here from Trinity Lutheran to lead us in the invocation and pledge.
Let us pray. Lord God of all things, we thank you that you give us governments, we give us willing servants to watch over us. We pray that you'd give them wisdom tonight, that you would bless the decisions they make, that they would benefit our community. All these things we pray in Jesus' name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Cora, would you call the roll, please?
Councilman Smith?
Here.
Stevens?
Here.
Boatright?
Here.
Mayor?
Here. Before we go to the recognition and awards, we need to have an election for vice mayor. I'm going to be out of town next week, so I don't anticipate anything's coming up, but if anything did come up, we need to have a vice mayor in charge, and I would like to nominate Cully Stevens for that spot. Are there any other nominations? Cora, would you call Councilman Stevens, I'm taking for granted that you'll accept.
It doesn't sound like I've got much choice. I'd be happy to serve. Yes, sir.
Cora, would you call the roll, please?
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Boatright?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes, that motion carries. Thank you, Councilman. We're on to recognition and awards. We have a proclamation. Whereas the theme of Women's History Month of 2021 is Valiant Women of the Vote, we honor the brave women who fought to win suffrage rights for women and the women who continue to fight for the voting rights of others. And whereas in 1980, the National Women's History Project was founded in Santa Rosa, California by Molly Murphy McGregor, Mary Ruthstadter, Maria Cuevas, Paula Hammett, Betty Morgan, to broadcast women's historical achievements. And whereas in 1987, Congress declared an entire month as National Women's History Month, and a special presidential proclamation is issued yearly. And whereas we, the American people, can celebrate the important role of women from all races and nationalities whose commitment shaped our nation and the world, which is often overlooked, whether in the field of politics, arts, science, legal, environment, and more. Women's historical messages, milestones can be used to educate young and old alike. And whereas the past focus has been aimed to help nations worldwide eliminate discrimination against women, it also focuses on helping women gain full and equal participation in global development. And whereas the United Nations celebrating International Women's Day and the International Women's Years 1975. In 1977, the United Nations General Assembly invited member states to proclaim March 8th as United Nations Day for Women's Rights and World Peace. And whereas there are many ways to develop and encourage girls and women of all ages. Number one, host a women's panel with speakers discussing their journey to success and answer questions. Two, connect to a local women's leadership conference. Choose women from your workplace and your community to and consider being a sponsor. Promote local networking opportunities for women. Send a representative who will share their experience and share it online. Whereas the City of McAllister acknowledges the services rendered from City Councilwomen Gladys Murphy, Reverend Melba Higgs Wilson, Myrtle Bead, and the generous donations given by Wanda Bass and others. In addition, there are many women and girls whose commitment to our community embraced our consciousness and knowledge. Now, therefore, I, John Brown, Mayor of the City of McAllister, hereby do proclaim March 20th Women's History Month in McAllister and urge my fellow citizens to observe this month by supporting women's activities that promote health, encouragement, education, and safety. And we will move to citizens' comments on non-agenda items. Residents may address the council regarding an item that is not listed on the agenda. Residents must provide their name and address. Council requests the comments be limited to 5 minutes. We did not have anyone sign up. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak? Seeing no one, we'll move to the consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the city council and will be enacted by one motion. There will not be separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. The agenda tonight consists of A, the McAllister City Council special meeting, regular meeting that had been scheduled for Tuesday, February 9th, 2021, were canceled due to inclement weather. B, approval of the minutes from the February 17th, 2021 special meeting of the McAllister City Council. C, approval of minutes from February 23rd, 2021 special meeting of the McAllister City Council. D, approval of minutes from the February 23rd, 2021 regular meeting of the McAllister City Council. E, approval of claims from February 17th, 2021 through March 2nd, 2021. F, consider and act upon a memorandum of understanding between the City of McAllister and the Pittsburgh County Commissioners to allow for continued collaboration and sharing of resources and duties to ensure the safety of the citizens of McAllister and Pittsburgh County during emergency situations. And G, approval of the quarterly report of the Oklahoma Small Business Development Center. Would anyone like anything removed from the consent agenda? In that case, I would take a motion and a second to approve it. Motion, Councilman Smith, second Councilman Boatright. Any discussion? Cora, would you call the roll, please?
Councilman Smith,
Yes.
Boatright,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes, and the motion carries. We will now move to a public hearing. All persons interested in any ordinance listed under scheduled business shall have an opportunity to be heard in accordance with Article 2, Section 212B of the City Charter. Tonight, the ordinance is an ordinance of the City of McAllister, Oklahoma, amending ordinance number 2687, which established the budget for fiscal year 2020-2021, repealing all conflicting ordinances, providing for severability clause, and declaring an emergency. Take a motion and a second to open the public hearing. Motion, Councilman Smith, second Councilman Boatright. Any discussion? Cora, would you call the roll, please?
Councilman Smith,
Yes.
Boatright,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes, we're now in a public hearing. Anyone wishing to address, please step forward. Seeing no one, I take a motion and a second to close. Motion, Councilman Smith, second Councilman Boatright. Any discussion? Cora, would you call the roll, please?
Councilman Smith,
Yes.
Boatright,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes, and the motion carries. We're on to agenda item number 1. Consider and act upon accepting the bid amount of $117,050 from Core Construction Incorporated and authorizing the mayor to sign the notice of award for the Kiamichi Drive water line replacement phase 2 project.
Good afternoon, council. February 2nd, we did this project. We had 9 contractors that checked out bids on the thing. We had 5 actually submit bids to us. The lowest bid was $117,050 from Orr Construction. We've never worked with Orr before, so we did our due diligence and checked on them, and they appear to be a good contractor. So our recommendation is awarded to the lowest and best bid to Orr Construction.
Any questions? Okay, I take a motion in a second. Motion, Councilman Boatright, second Councilman Smith. Any discussion? Cora, would you call the roll, please?
Councilman Boatright,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes, and the motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're on to agenda item number 2. Consider and act upon a professional mowing service agreement with Limestone Gap Construction for the mowing of right-of-ways on South Main from West Seneca south to West 69 Highway Access Road on west side of Main, 270 Highway from West Street to Indian Nation Turnpike entrance, George Knight Expressway from Skyway Drive north to Mount Moriah Road, in the amount of $11,000 per mowing. Normally, all areas are mowed 4 times in a mowing season, possibly 5 times weather permitting. Mr. Basinger.
Yes, Mayor and Council, Doug Basinger, Community Services Director. Staff's recommendation on this is to approve the motion for professional mowing services with Limestone Gap Construction in the amount of $11,000 per mowing. And I'm open to any questions you may have.
This is the first time we've done this, isn't it?
I believe so. Our parks guys have mowed this for years. We have tractors. This is gonna open these guys up, or allow these guys to do other things. We will still have one guy mowing every day in town with a tractor, and the other 2 will be mowing a week or so out of the month in various areas of the city with a tractor. But it will free them up to do things, and it's gonna, it looks to us like it's gonna save a little bit of money too. And wear and tear on our tractors that are old also, so.
Council Smith?
Doug, any idea why nobody else bid? Out of those
No,
7?
we actually advertised this in the newspaper like we always do, and we sent it to 7 other people that normally do work for us, and nobody applied. I believe this one, there's another one that was Limestone Construction, has a similar name, so I think we know of 8 people there that, and we just had one that applied. It's kinda like our roof water stop center. I don't know why they don't, but they didn't.
Are we gonna be using these then? Somebody's gonna go behind them and check them and see what kind of work they're doing?
Yes,
So-
our park supervisor will make sure that that's done, that they're doing everything that the scope of work.
Contract is called for.
Yeah, that it says they're supposed to be doing.
Okay,
You know, it could be as little as 3 times. It's all dependent on the weather, so. We have
Right.
never mowed it over 5 times.
do we tell them when to mow then?
Yes,
Is it
we
our-
will
our
tell them
respons-
when it needs to be. and-
Okay.
Or well beforehand, so they can at least have time to do that, so.
Okay.
And we will be responsible for making sure they do what they're
Yeah,
told.
because we've never used them, we need to know a little bit.
Yes,
you
sir,
know,
we'll
about
make sure
what
that
they're
they're,
gonna do,
that
how
they are
they're gonna
doing what
work.
they're supposed to do.
Okay.
Are there any other questions?
Mr. Mayor, this is Councilman Stevens.
Go ahead.
Mr. Basinger, do you think it's worth trying to get some more bids, or do you feel like this is in line with what we would be paying, sir?
This is actually less than what it cost us to do it ourselves. And it,
Really?
it could be within $1,000 less, or it could be more than that, depending on what site you use to calculate how much a tractor costs to run and that stuff.
Okay.
We've taken into account all the employee cost, their total cost, including benefits, and then also the tractor cost, also the depreciation of the tractor, fuel, all these things, so. Yeah, and we have found that
So we
it,
feel good with this bid then, sir?
yes, sir, we do.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? If not, I take a motion and a second to approve. Motion, Councilman Smith, second, Councilman Boatright. Any further discussion? Corr, would you call the roll, please?
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Boatright?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes, and the motion carries. Thank you. We're on to agenda item number 3, consider and act upon an ordinance amending ordinance number 2687, which established the budget for fiscal year 2020-2021, repealing all conflicting ordinances, providing a severability clause, and declaring an emergency. Ms. Swift.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The budget amendments that we have here for you tonight, I have 4 different exhibits. And I got those in the wrong order here, sorry. The first 2 pertains to the emergency fund that the council approved in our last special meeting of $750,000. Moving that from the emergency fund to infrastructure.
Those are actually the last 2 in the package, right?
Yeah, they've got it kind of backwards there. And then exhibit 2 is appropriating the funds from the infrastructure with that transfer to, the contingency. And our plan is to, use these funds, to pay for the emergency needs that, took place due to the storm and the weather that we encountered. Exhibit number 3. This is with MPWA. It's not affecting fund balance at all. It's just appropriating the funds to cover ongoing projects and expenditures within the fund itself. Just kind of. And then Exhibit 4 is our general fund. Still a little bit of the mid-year appropriations that we reviewed in our last meetings, and appropriating those funds to the proper line items within that fund as well. Any questions on those line items that you see before you?
No one has any questions, I would take a motion and a second to approve. Motion Councilman Smith, second Councilman Boatright. Any discussion? Corr, would you call the roll, please?
Councilman Smith,
Yes.
Boatright,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes, and the motion carries. This has an emergency with it, so I need a motion and a second on the emergency as well. Motion Councilman Smith, second Councilman Boatright. Any discussion? Corr, would you call the roll, please?
Councilman Smith,
Yes.
Boatright,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes, and the motion carries. We're on to agenda item number 4, discussion and possible action on reactivating 10-day past due notices and cutoff policies for utilities. Ms. Swift again.
On this agenda report, the staff recommends that all fees that have been waived during the pandemic be reinstated, and to begin April 15th of 2021. Below that, I've provided you some of the revenue that has been lost to date with those. Some of that stormwater has already been reinstated, but the other fees that we assisted customers and the residents in the community, not having those additional fees to help them through these hard times during the pandemic. And it's just to give you a good side of what we've lost during that time from, I think, almost March of last year. So.
It's been a year.
Yep.
Yeah. I have a question on the credit card fee.
Yes.
Are we gonna reinstate a credit card fee for people to pay online when, to me, it doesn't seem to be a great idea since we're not gonna be having them paying.
This one actually is, we can actually, for an individual, there was a $5 fee that was attached to a credit card fee for someone that was calling in and not using the other alternative forms of payment or other forms of that we've offered.
Okay,
So,
so
it's
if I go online and pay with my debit card, there won't be any fee on that?
Yeah, we can continue to
Yeah,
leave
but-
that off, or, yeah.
Yeah,
But
I would prefer, I don't, we're asking people
Mhm.
to do something that benefits us, and I don't think we should be charging them
Okay.
to do it. But that's my personal opinion.
Are we
I feel
notifying
the
these
same way,
people
Mr. Mayor, this is
that,
Councilman
that
Stevens.
we're going to go back to these rates? I mean, are you just gonna send them a bill and show they're past due and they owe us money? Or is there a notification we send out with?
There's
the water-
there is a process that when someone becomes past due, there's a call that is provided that is sent out automatically with the push of a button, says that you're past due, and then there is a late fee assessed at that time, is our normal process, and then again there's 48 hours call that is also sent out to all utility customers that says they have within 48 hours to make a payment and before water service is ever disconnected. And we've not actively cut anybody off for this last year.
And this would, I'm assuming this would start with the next billing cycle.
What we anticipate happening, because it's going to be a huge a huge load for all of us to, because there's a lot of customers that are past due. So what we kind of envision is that we will begin the late calls, getting them back into the routine of hearing those calls, reminding them that they're past due, sending them out their notices, just like we've always done, and then gradually move into actually cutting them off. Giving them 30 to 60 days at that most, and then, just to get them back into the routine.
And it's not uncommon for us to, if someone, and I can see how this could have happened to people over the past year, that they have a more significant debt than they anticipated.
Certainly.
We work with people to allow them
Yes.
to put a payment plan together.
Yes, and for several months, we've actually had a program in place. It's out there on our website, and we also offer it in person, or, when we're talking to the individuals or, the account holders, that we do offer a payment plan. And, that way they take their balance. It's kind of just, we put it in a contract to where they pay a certain amount through, 12 to 24 months, and along with their regular bill, and as long as they stay current with that, then everything is fine.
We
And it's
don't-
just a matter-
we don't pile additional late fees on or anything like that, right? I mean, unless they don't pay it on time.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And we're not gonna go back and try to accumulate anything from that point forward. We're just gonna move forward, gradually move into our normal processes like we've always done.
Okay. And then one other question, because I had someone contact me on this. With the weather we had lots of people have had water line breaks at their houses.
Yes.
And we do adjustments for those.
Yes, we do.
Can you just quickly go through that process? Because I've had people ask me about it.
What the process is.
Yes.
So what we ask of a customer is that if they experienced a leak, if they had repairs that were made with a plumber, that they bring in their plumber's a receipt where they had that work done, and we review it. There's a formula in which we take their
Normal usage.
normally their average consumption, I'm sorry, and make an adjustment. Of course, it gets sent up to Pete, the city manager, for approval before we make those adjustments, and then we process that as normal.
Councilman Boatright?
I have a person that I know that doesn't live in my ward, that his hot water tank has been out for 4 or 5 months. And now he gets a huge water bill, and he doesn't even, he don't use hot water. He goes to his daughter's house for that.
Mhm. Unfortunately,
Is there something that we're able to help these people that are getting these huge bills that we don't even, that we know that they didn't use?
well, a water
nope.
heater itself is not included as a in our ordinance as an item that can be approved as far as a leak. It has to be a connection within the house, under the house, that kind of thing. A water heater, I don't think we've ever approved a water heater to as a form of that led to an adjustment.
Yeah, but I know he uses water, but he's not able to use hot water, so he's going elsewhere for that for the time being. But like I said, it's,
What I
Yeah.
would suggest that individual do is probably contact us and work with him on a contract to, kind of lower that for him and pay it out.
okay. Even, he's not done anything to his plumbing, he's had a straight same water bill for 3 or 4 years, and all of a sudden he gets this monster bill, and
Well,
there's no
it's
water leak.
but you said that his water heater is out, or his,
He's using water,
uh-huh.
but he has no hot water, so he's not taking a bath here, he's taking one somewhere else. But it's a single person by himself that
Has he contacted the office so we can
I
research
think
it?
he's tried to. I don't think he's been
Okay.
up there yet, but
Okay. I'll be happy to speak with him myself. If you would like to give him my name and number, I'll be more than happy to go over his bill with him and look and see what we can find out. there are means of which we can do some research and determine what, could possibly be
Okay.
the problem.
Okay, I'll have him get hold of you.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments?
Mr. Mayor, this is Councilman Stevens.
Go ahead.
Mrs. Swift, can you tell me how the payment plan works? I mean, is it, let's say they owe $200,
Uh-huh.
is this something you set it up on, something where they've got to pay it off in 2 months, 6 months, 2 years? What does that look like?
We actually have given the customer the opportunity that they can tell us what they can really do. I don't think, I think was speaking with Pete when we set this up, it was that we weren't gonna go 2 years out or 24 months or something. It was gonna be kind of limited at that. But, we were more than willing to help with somebody if they could pay it off in 2 months or if they needed to pay it off in 6 months. There was no limit except for going over 24 months.
Okay.
And we just
So
take,
it's something that you can work with them, we're well within our bounds, we can't not work with somebody that's accrued this, where we have to shut off their water because they've lost their job or anything like that there?
no, I mean, we're more than willing to work with everybody at hand, and anybody that reaches out to us that needs assistance, then, we have the form, the payment plan out there on our website. They can actually go out there and do that. If they wanna call the ladies in the water office, they can get a form as well and just kinda tell us, this is your bill, this is what you would like to pay over the next so many months.
Okay.
So, it's out there.
Okay, I had no idea that this actually existed until tonight.
It's actually been in place for quite some time, but we just kind of put it on our website. Actually, when the pandemic started, I think Mayor actually asked us to put something out there that would be available to our residents to let them know that there is an option to not be overwhelmed with their bills.
No, absolutely, I think it's a great thing to do, especially in these times we're in. Do you think that this is something that we should do, and I see here with what we're talking about, what happens to do it in May instead of April?
No, I'm up to that. I mean, we were just suggesting what the next billing cycle, because we bill twice a month, and so we were.
I don't think, the only reason I say that is it gives you guys ample time to talk to people and work with them, instead of all of a sudden you guys are under the gun as well, dealing with these people, and then you have some that have no idea what's going on, and give us some time to really push this out there. I mean, do you feel like you have ample time to be able to work with people, so you're not having to be overwhelmed with shutting people's meters off and have no idea about what this program is?
Well, that's why we kind of suggested that we would gradually move into this. We would first start the routine of getting everybody involved, or getting the phone calls out there. Then we would be assessing the late fees, and then we would, I would see probably the first billing in June, probably the first time that we actually do cut somebody off. And just because we have to get that rhythm back in. I mean, there's so many, right now that we have a large amount.
I get that. That's what I'm saying. I want to make sure that it gives the city and you all time to work and do that.
Yeah.
Compared to just throwing it back in the mix, and all of a sudden you've got people that you've been working with, and then you're having to, essentially you're being forced to shut off their water when you don't really want to. You want to be able to help them pursue this plan.
Definitely.
And do those things. That's what I want to make sure of, is that we're giving you all the tools to be successful in doing this.
Right. And we have to depend upon the customer as well to take that step.
Oh, absolutely.
And make that make that known to us that they need to make those changes.
Councilor Smith?
Sure, does this date of the middle of April, that gives you over a month to get ready, is that adequate for you all to
Yeah, we
do
can.
what you need
Yeah,
to do?
we think that we can be prepared for that. And then,
Good.
like I said, we can gradually move into that. And so it's not a shot for us, and not a shot for the customer as well, because there's many, depending on, their circumstances, that have not made a payment thus far for almost a year now.
Any other questions or comments? Not, I will make a motion to to approve with the exception of the credit card fees for payment by credit card.
Second.
Any further discussion? Corge, call the roll, please.
Councilman Smith, the second.
Yeah.
Councilman Smith,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Boatright,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes, and the motion carries. Thank you. All right, we are on to agenda item number 5. Consider an act upon awarding 8 hours of leave to all employees to be taken on a designated day. Do you want to take that, or do you want me to take that?
Mayor, this was something that you had in mind, and we'd be pleased if you would take this.
Okay. Well, our entire staff worked remarkably hard through the ice storm that we had and the water issues that we had, and there's not a whole lot of ways that we can reward people for doing an incredible job, and it's throughout the entire system. The water guys, the street guys, they did a ton of work, the hard work and outside work, but we had people working at City Hall 12, 18 hours a day as well. And I would like for us to grant them an 8-hour administrative day where at the city manager's discretion, either a Friday or a Monday, make a 3-day weekend for the employees that they all take off at once, so there's no difficulty trying to track this one's had it, this one hasn't. And that's my recommendation. If there's any questions or comments, I'd be happy to answer them. If not, then I would make a motion that we approve. Second, Councilman Boatright. Any further discussion? Corge, call the roll, please.
Councilman Boatright,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes, and the motion carries. Thank you, guys. We're on to agenda item number 6, review and discussion regarding the plan to reopen City Hall safely. Mr. Stasiak?
Mayor, members of the council, we had a request at the last meeting to look at reopening City Hall. We have every intention of reopening City Hall. It's been almost a year that we've been closed down. City Hall, when you talk about it being closed, really hasn't been closed. It's been by appointment only, and we've been able to accommodate those people for the most part very readily. Our intention is to open City Hall back up on April the 19th, and the question becomes, why 5 or 6 weeks out? Well, it is not our intent to open the utility office back up for payments and those type of things. One of the dirtiest things you can handle going forward is money. And really, if you look at the services that we offer, we have two drop-offs here at City Hall. We have a kiosk at Pruitt's. We have a kiosk at the Travel Plaza down by the casino. And our intent is to get another kiosk that will take cash, credit cards, those type of things for here at City Hall in between the two doors out in the foyer. That will give the public access to make their payments 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because that area is not locked from the general public. So that kiosk will be installed. It's going to take us a little while to get it ordered, get it set up, and get it functional. In the meantime, we are looking at the lobby and how we're going to handle the general public in the lobby. I think everybody understands that we're going to be checking temperatures. We've already gotten the monitors for the temperatures. They sit on a tripod, and all you have to do is walk up next to it, and it gives you a readout. We will be changing the lobby interior to be friendly for the public, more as a waiting type room. And people will be greeted by a greeter. They will be contacted as to who they want to see here at City Hall. That greeter will call that department, and somebody will come down from whether it's the building office, whether it's second floor engineering, community services, wherever it is, that individual will come down and escort that person to the office. So that's the way that we're going to kind of handle the general public. So the lobby will be user-friendly, and there will be somebody there to help the general public at all times. We're going to update all of our procedures for how to close counts, purchasing permits, and those type of things on our websites. We're working on those as we speak, and just make this whole process more user-friendly. So there will be more availability on our website, more easier access on our website. We will have people that will be able to, you'll be able to walk into this building and talk to somebody, and that person will be able to contact whoever you need to see. If the individual isn't available, we will definitely take their name and number, and that person from that department will call them back. They will be given a phone message to call them back. So that is our plan, and that's kind of what we got going forward. The plan is to open this up to the public Monday, April the 19th, 2021.
Any questions? Councilor Smith?
Well, this isn't my area of expertise, but I find this thing very cumbersome, unwieldy, labor intensive. I mean, every store in town is handling money and checks and credit cards. What's different about here? We've got every place in town open. The courthouse is open. Businesses are open. Everything's open. And now we're saying we've got to wait 6 weeks to open this place because we're going to have a kiosk to take money and checks and credit cards?
Correct.
That's ridiculous. On top of that, we're saying when you walk in the building, you've got to say who you want to see, and that person is going to contact somebody upstairs. They're going to come down and do what? Escort you up there?
Yes.
Like you, I mean, what's wrong with just a person walking in and going up to codes like they always have? Everybody's wearing a mask, I presume, face covering. This thing this is overkill to me. I don't know what everybody else thinks about it, but
I agree. You walk in a restaurant, you got your mask on, you talk to people, they hand you silverware, they set your plate on the table, and this is no different of handing a check or handing money to a person in the water office, so to speak, first things first. You know, and then building permits, if a man wants to come in and do a building permit, a room addition or a new house, then he's got to wait down here, and if one of the inspectors is not there, then you take a name, you don't call the guy, you don't find out anything. I want City Hall open. That's what I want.
when I went to the courthouse to pay my ad valorem taxes in December, they didn't hesitate taking my money. There wasn't any problem, you know. And I walked directly to the office. Nobody had to escort me. What's the escort for? What's the purpose of that?
Just to have that individual taken directly, so they're not wandering around the building.
Who wanders around?
Yeah,
You'd be
If you've got
surprised.
proper signage
You'd be
and say
surprised.
codes is here, take the second floor, step off the elevator.
Sure.
You know, this escort business is just.
everybody knows where the water office is. Everybody knows where codes is. Everybody knows where your building permits are. It's not like it's stranger. The people that are going to be putting in for building permits, 90 out of 100 of them are going to be local people doing business anyway. And that's just how I feel about it. I think it's waited way too long to be open, and I'm supporting having it open sooner. I just don't like this. I don't like the way it's being done.
I'm on the other side. I think that everything we can do to protect our employees is good for the employees. I think it's a minor inconvenience for someone to come in to have to wait to see the person that they're coming to see.
It's pointless. We're not in California, John.
No.
You know, everything's open. You don't have to wait at Walmart at the entrance to take you back to the clothing department. I mean, this is
They
nuts.
handle money every day.
Go to an auto sales place. They don't hesitate walking up to you and trying to sell you a car. Everybody can wear their mask. What's the problem?
Mr. Mayor, this is Councilman Stevens, if I may.
Go ahead.
Just to put in my 2 cents on reading through this and listening to everything, I mean, it's cumbersome and inconvenient. I'm not gonna disagree with that, but I think this whole pandemic and what we've all lived through the last year or so, to varying degrees with each one of us and how we evaluate risk is also cumbersome and inconvenient. So if it helps protect our employees and continues to move us towards a point that we can be more accessible even beyond this, because, for instance, the kiosk, I think that's a wonderful decision. If we continue to start taking cash, check, and credit card here in the next couple months after that, we could still use this. There's lots of people that can't pay their bills before 5 o'clock and have to pay afterwards and don't have an option. And we can continue to move this way so we can be more convenient and accessible for the city, and for the citizens that live here. They want to be able to have this more accessible. I don't look at this as something that can be forever, but if we continue to see the numbers trend down, as vaccine numbers go up, and we learn more, and we're able to combat, and hopefully this is going downward, then by all means, we lift these restrictions, and we have better processes in place to help people and assist them online with turning on their water, and paying their bills, and being accessible, and it just makes us better. So, Mr. Manager, I don't have an issue with this. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want to see us doing this forever. But I think this is something that's a good way to continue to protect our, people there at City Hall, and also to help and assist our citizens beyond once we move past all this. So I'm supportive of your decisions here. You just do what you think's best.
So I think pretty clearly we've made it absolutely unclear for you, Mr. Stasiak. It's 2-2. I suggest that we readdress it possibly at our next meeting when we've got the other council members here. Right now, it looks like about a 2-2.
No, I mean, we appreciate the reason that we put this out here. We gave you our plan. We appreciate all your comments and your suggestions, and we'll take those into consideration and see how we can adjust the plan. Because this does not have an action item on it there.
Okay. Are there any other comments?
One more thing. Get this off my chest too. 80%, 75% of these city employees here that we're protecting walk out of here and go to Walmart, they go to the grocery store, and they're doing the same thing that we're not doing here. And that's my gripe right there. It's because we're not doing the same thing as every business here in town is doing.
I just look at it as that we can only control what we can control. So, with that, we will move on to agenda item number 7. General discussion of making progress towards more walkability in our community and moving towards aligning with our comprehensive plan. Councilman Stevens.
Thank you, sir. I'm assuming everybody can hear me okay there. When I first kind of brought this up to the city manager and the assistant city manager, I kind of had a different idea of what I wanted to discuss with the council this evening, but after we've gone through water apocalypse and dipping into our emergency funds and everything along those lines, I kind of want to have a general discussion about our infrastructure and then what this really kind of looks like when I say walkability and moving towards our comprehensive plan. In the last year or so, we've experienced a lot of change individually as a community and businesses or families, whatever way. We just got through having a fairly divided conversation on this, and I don't think that's going to end anytime soon. But here's what I would like to see us as a council, and I think it starts here. And this is why I kind of wanted to get some feedback and hear you other council members' opinions too. Looking and driving around and everybody knows what I do. I sell real estate, so I get to go a little all over McAllister and get to deal with different people, to build houses, to remodel, to, you know, people looking to rent something, to build or buy or whatever. Moving here from other parts of the community or from different cities and states right now a lot. The thing that I constantly hear a refrain from when I'm doing that is our lack of diversity in our community. And then even going beyond that is, where are we going? What are we doing? What's going on here? What's exciting? What's this? What's that? And I know we've got some great things going on. We've got some unfortunate things going on right now. But I think when I talk about walkability and bringing us more towards in line with our comprehensive plan, like if you look in your agenda packet where we've got existing bike lanes, proposed bike lanes, bicycle sidewalks and design, I mean, this is all great and dandy. And I'm very excited about that, but it kind of doesn't get to the heart of the matter of what I'm saying, and that we're not an inclusive community. If we're not going to look to design and really look at our comprehensive plan and use it for more than just a paperweight, then we should have never paid for it. Because since my time on council, we've received that comprehensive plan. In my very, very firm opinion, we have voted against everything that people have asked us to do in that. I really believe we need to get back to the heart of the matter. We need to get with city staff, and we need to start directing what that plan says with making improvements in our business districts, with looking to add diversity of housing in our codes. We're looking to tackle our codes issues. I know that's being worked on some, but the council should be involved in that, driving that discussion. And right now, I don't feel like we are. And if we're going to truly capture and make these water line improvements and we're going to pass these bonds, I serve second ward. My ward is usually the last one that gets water and the first one that loses their water pressure. I have people that live in my ward that were without water for a minimum of probably close to 2 weeks or more. If we don't start taking our comprehensive plan seriously and start investing in our infrastructure, and the best way I know that is to make improvements where we can in these areas that we're looking at right now, my ward's going to suffer quite a bit, and so does the rest of this community. So I kind of want to open up the discussion if people believe I'm way off course here, or if there's some need here that maybe we need to discuss about a little bit.
Did you get cut off?
No, I'm finished with my rant.
Okay.
My speech at this point. I'm curious to see if there's any other council members that believe there's value in that, or if they believe that we're actually accomplishing that plan right now.
Councilor Smith?
Pete, have we prioritized any of those things in the plan? I mean, we've been put on hold now for a year because of the plague, right? But
Correct.
it seemed like I recall you had gone through and prioritized some of those things, and
We did. We had identified the 6 areas that we were attacking directly. Right before all of this hit, we had given you an update of what was being completed on those 6 tasks. Ms. Clifton updated this about 30 days ago. We'll be presenting what progress has been made on those 6 agenda items, or not agenda items, but those 6 tasks that were identified. And we'll be bringing that up to your attention here in the near future.
so you haven't forgotten about the
No, we have
plan,
not.
or-
We have not. Not at all.
Thanks.
If I may,
Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, if I may,
Yes, go ahead.
I'm not asking what the city staff is doing about the plan. I'm asking what this council believes if we're actually following through and doing anything, because it's up to us to set direction and guidance.
Councilor Smith?
What do you have in mind specifically, Kelly?
To me,
Yeah, what's your prioritization?
What I'm hearing, I don't believe that we're following through on any of those identified things that we've talked about. And that's what's concerning to me, is I don't feel that this council is looking at it and going, okay, what speaks to us here, what does this? This is why I want to have this discussion, is that maybe I'm just feeling that way, and I need to dive more in and address some of the needs that I see. But this is where I'm curious if the council believes that we're following through on this, because I can't call each one of you up and individually and have this discussion. This is where I want to have it and see what y'all's concerns, or maybe we believe that we're doing enough, and that's what I need to hear. I just want to hear that.
Councilor Smith?
Well, my understanding is we've been put on hold because of the plague for about a year. And city manager just said he's gonna bring 6 items before us where we could discuss them, and I assume if you have an idea for something that's better, you could present it at that time.
Absolutely.
Okay?
I think that we have made some progress with the comprehensive plan because of a lot of the work that we have done downtown ties into it, as far as, you know, downtown is now, you know, narrowing the street and we're adding the park down at Arvest, and all that is getting more of a community type feel where people will get out more and walk around more, and you know, going back a year, you know, that's where I delivered mail, and you could tell the difference just in a year's time from.
Oh, yeah.
So we are working towards it, but it's you know, it's like everything else that we have to deal with is utilizing the resources that we have, and we just don't have enough resources to do all of the things. We end up having to react more often than we get to be proactive, and you know, if we can get to a point where we have the ability to be proactive, yeah, I like the idea of former Mayor Harrison has about expanding the trail system to possibly some more rustic type trails that don't cost a lot of money to set up and
Yeah,
maintain and things like that. But you know, the biggest thing that I see is I don't think there's any intent to get away from the comprehensive plan. I think we just get put in the position of reacting more than we can be proactive, and when we are proactive, we have very limited resources to do so.
Okay.
Is anyone else, any comments? All right, we will move on to agenda item number 8, discussion of the 5-year capital improvement plan, 2021, 22, 25, and 26.
Mayor and Council, this is your presentation of your City of McAllister's 5-year capital improvement plan. But we wanted to kind of start out by showing you some of the capital and some things that we've done in the last year, just to get things started. In Public Works, we are glad to have increased our street overlay program each year. For the last 4 or 5 years, it was about, I think, $600,000 this year. The Wade Watts sidewalk, from the underpass at Walmart to Strong Avenue, and then I know we were just talking about walkability, and the roll-off truck for recycling, the Sign Your Way Canal Stormwater Project. Those are just some major things we got accomplished this year. When we look at public utilities, which is a lot of our priority, you know, clearly the clarifiers, the 2 clarifiers they're being purchased with the emergency activity that we did at the last meeting. But the Easton wastewater plant, water basins, they increased our capacities at our wastewater plants, and then our liquid chlorine was a top priority recommendation from our engineer advisors, and it could have been it's a safety concern also. The Clearwell project is going on currently, and this is a huge project for us. It'll drastically reduce our water loss ratio, but in addition to having the 2 million gallons of water storage at the plant reestablished, so that when we do have these emergency leaks and problems, we have that 2 million gallons of storage to supply to the city. The transformer at the water plant was replaced. It was out of date. And of course, we have the Kiamichi water line replacement that's going on phase 1 and 2 at this time underway. In community services, we're proud that we replaced the Stipe Center roof. And we have received 2 cemetery mowers through donation and 2 park mowers through donations. And I thank Mr. McGowan immensely. We love our donators. I'm excited about getting the fire truck. The assistant chief got a fire truck, and the SCBA's and the bunker gear and the power cot. We do the bunker gear and the SCBA's pretty much every year, updating them, and then the power cot helps with lifting patients. And the power cots are way easier to get in and out of different locations. In the police department, we were able to replace 10 police vehicles. I think that's the most we've replaced in 1 year in at least a decade. We got grants to help with the purchases of our handheld radios, body cameras, and bulletproof vests for the police. But I just wanted to take a moment to realize that even though we all know that we don't get the money to fund all of the projects in that book that you have, we do really bite off a big chunk every year. And this is the part that you have to look at, the accumulation of what we've gotten accomplished, and that's what makes the day-to-day worth it. So, and now we'll go into, instead of talking about every single item in that book, we're going to just talk about the priorities in each section. The public works buildings, our #1 priority is the FAA building. That has been at the airport for 10 years. It's been basically unused, and by remodeling it, we intend to make it usable again for the citizens. And the plan is to put in a tourism and visitor center, along with our community partners and groups offices, and then have a place for a banquet hall that we can have maybe 150 people, and then possibly a commercial kitchen or incubator kitchen. And this is the design that for architect, because architecturally it needs to fit in with the new FAA terminal that's also in your book in the next couple of years, that will be funded through an FAA grant. The FAA grant will be funding the #2, the Precision Approach Path Indicator, which is the lighting at the runway. And our current lighting is out of date and could possibly cause safety concerns if not replaced. The pre-warning lightning detection system is kind of self-explanatory, but this is the first of a 3-year program to put that into place.
What's that for?
Mike Deek and it's for pre-warning of any storms coming in, so that any sports activities or anything like that will be aware of lightning. So
Gotcha. Outdoor sports.
Outdoor sports.
Gotcha. Fine.
Yeah. Then we have Public Works Stormwater. The stormwater projects will continue to be analyzed and suggested through our stormwater engineers, MESHAC, and the Stormwater Committee, with the overall master plan in mind. We're able to give to that as much as we can receive through our stormwater funds. The streets improvements is number 1 for streets. This is 6th Street from Choctaw to Wyandotte is our number 1 priority, and then our street overlay project will continue the resurfacing there that you see with the engineer's recommendations from the pavement index study that we paid for several years ago now. And this $350,000 will cover about 15 blocks. The number 3, the pavement preservation program. With our success of our overlay program, the need to start a pavement preservation program is a priority because it is proven that oiling the streets will extend the life of the pavement. And so the South Main sidewalk repair is down right on Choctaw and Main.
Why is that not the property owner's responsibility?
I think that's a legal question. I will refer you to legal.
That caved in there, right? There's a basement there.
Yes, it's
Allison's old
underneath.
drugstore, but it looks like that'd be the property owner. What'd you find out about that, Pete?
We haven't gotten an exact determination on that yet.
Councilman, this is Joe Irvin. You know, there's a difference between maintaining the sidewalk and constructing a sidewalk, and so where we get into a problem is when we expect the homeowner to construct the structure itself. They are required to maintain it by our ordinance, but they're not required to construct or reconstruct sidewalks or ways.
Say that again? What's that, Joe?
I said there's a difference between maintaining a sidewalk or constructing a sidewalk. So we don't require our residents to construct public ways, but they are required to maintain like a sidewalk that's adjacent to their property. So we don't require them to build it, but once it's built, they are required to maintain it by ordinance.
Well, this thing's been built for 100 years, so.
In our public utilities, we have our wastewater. The sewer main replacement program is frequently funded through the CDBG, but this will probably be in the Conley Park area. We've been trying to complete that entire neighborhood.
Do we anticipate getting CDBG for another area then? Or was that anticipated to be CDBG money?
Anticipated CDBG money. The water, which I hope everyone here realize that our number 1 priority is the water main replacement program. In your packet, the highlighted in yellow is included all the water lines identified by the ISG report that you've been presented with if we pass the bond. But this is what we are planning to fund. On the list is the CDBG infrastructure replacement. And then we have the valve and hydrant replacement program also. We have valves that are old and they're either broken shut or broken open. We need to systematically identify and replace them. This is how we are going to do it. And then we have 984 fire hydrants that are old and aging, and it costs about $4,000 to replace one. So,
if we were to be able to pass a bond issue, would items 1 and 4 be part of that bond issue, and then that money could be allocated elsewhere?
probably,
Probably.
yes.
Is that belt press where they dry
Sludge.
sludge and stuff?
Yes.
Turn it into dirt or
Yes.
whatever?
Number 3 is the belt press, and it's at the water plant. It will reduce maintenance on our sludge ponds, that we do with the boxes and haul, away. It'll increase our capacity to handle sludge at our water plant, and we are actually required to address this issue for ODEQ. The community services, what can I say? Mowers, mowers, and more mowers. And then scoreboards for softball complex. But with the donation of the 2 mowers, this for cemetery and donation for parks, 2 mowers. These are 2 mowers that are, I think, maybe identical or similar to what we got donated, 2 and 3 up there. Then we have fire, and we had a demonstration of the pumper truck, and it's going to come in around $550,000 instead of the $650 you see here, but it's high tech and really nice. And anyway, they're excited. It's a big purchase and a big accomplishment to get to move on that. The SCBA packs we do, like, again, pretty much every year. The north side, this Cascade breathing air system needs updating, and then the north side fire station remodel needs updating, and then the fire marshal vehicle.
I'm wondering, Pete, what's ever happened with the idea of reducing the number of fire stations? Has that ever gone anywhere, or is that feasible? Or?
It is feasible. It has not got moved forward. It's been on hold now for about a year, and we'll be readdressing that with the chief in the near future.
Community and economic development, we have the number 1 is code enforcement management software, and you see other software, the land development code update, a compact SUV, and then community development is doing the master trails and linkages projects. And,
so is that Kelly's thing? Walking
Yes.
trails? Is that it?
walking trails. We get grants through those, or we apply for grants for those. This is a summary page that you are used to seeing every year. As you can see, the 14.8 million total is for 1 year is quite daunting. The list that I listed to you before, for example, all the things we got accomplished, that was around $3 million. And so, in perspective, it's we kind of have to prioritize and analyze what does the most for our citizens for the money. But we also included a new summary page for you, and it kind of breaks it down by buildings and other items so that you could see it a little different, and it still has the 14.8 total. But that way you can see vehicles and equipment and buildings and those kind of things. Are there any questions?
On all 200
This is
pages?
your first presentation of the 5-year capital. You will be seeing it again.
Good.
And if you would, Councilman, if you give us some feedback on all of this, we've identified the priorities in the different departments. If you have other comments, please let us know so that we can incorporate those into the next presentation.
No, this is probably way too big of an ask, but what would the 5-year capital plan look like if we did pass a bond issue?
For the $30 million in water improvements, that is a separate sheet in the presentation. It's not incorporated in any of the information you saw tonight. That is a standalone project, those $30 million worth of.
It would give us, what, another $1 million a year to do other infrastructure projects with? Or?
Mary, you're absolutely correct. the infrastructure fund generates about $2.1 million a year off that quarter-cent sales tax, or half-cent sales tax. That would allow us, we split that up between streets, wastewater, and water. So approximately $1 million is what we designate to the water projects. So that would be picked up on the bond,
Wastewater and streets.
on the bond, and it would go to wastewater and streets. That's correct.
Correct. So, another good reason to pass a bond issue. Is it not only would help with the water, it would indirectly help with the streets and the wastewater as well.
It absolutely
What's
would.
the timeline on this bond thing?
Our next step is going to be getting Mr. Wolf down here and having a workshop with the council, not on a council meeting night, where we can
Sit
have
down.
more informal.
Absolutely.
So you're thinking about doing that, what, April?
It won't be next week. Hopefully it'll be the week following. So you're probably looking at 2 weeks from now.
So when would we have an election if everything panned out?
When is
Well,
September?
we know for sure we have one in September, so.
I remember that, but
Yeah.
are there any other times for those bond elections, do you know?
My understanding on it, and don't take this as gospel by any means, but the only election dates that are open now, between now and then, are for questions. Is that the way I understand it? So, as to if this would be a question or not, I don't know.
Mr. Mayor, this is Joe Irvin. I think there's a date in July for issues. And so for a question like a bond issue, you could go July, but after that, you're back to September. The restriction is on replacing members of the council or special elections for filling vacancies. That's restricted to September.
So we do have a little time. Are there any other questions or comments on the 5-year plan?
Appreciate it.
Okay, then we will move on to new business. Any matter not known which could not have been reasonably foreseen prior to the time of posting the agenda in accordance with section 311.9, title 25. Do we have any new business, Mr. Stacy?
We do not, Mayor.
We will go to your report then.
I just wanted to give you a quick update on the storm and the costs associated with that storm. With contract labor, contractors, and just supplies to repair water lines and the fittings and everything that goes along with it. To date, and all the bills aren't in yet, we spent $129,870. We spent a little over $8,300 in overtime with our employees, and damage to concrete, asphalt repair, along with curbing, is another $65,000 plus. So to date, we've spent about $203,000 on the storm. This does not include the cost of the clarifiers, which is another $255,000. And but we're coming close to the end. Most of the bills have been gathered, and so we're somewhere in that $475,000 range is what this storm cost us. That's all I have, Mayor.
No, that's less than 750, so that's good.
It is, and we'll only spend what we need.
Okay, we'll move to remarks and inquiries by the council. Councilman Smith, Councilman Boatright, Councilman Stevens.
I'm good, thank you, Mayor.
Okay,
Oh, actually, Mayor, I do have one question
okay, go ahead.
for the city manager. Mr. Stazak, we communicated a little bit this last weekend about an energy audit. Can you tell me a little bit more about what's going on there?
Yeah, I'd like to, Councilman. I have not been able to dig into that this week and exactly where we're at. I will get that done in the next day or so. It's been a very, very busy week. And so I can tell you that we had, about 4 or 5 years ago, we had a company named Amoresco do a complete energy audit of the entire city. And that energy audit was not accepted. That was a very in-depth. It had some bidding problems associated with it. We are currently doing another energy audit. I don't know how in-depth it is. I will find out that information for you and get it to you. But I know that we're in the process of doing something right now.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, we'll move to mayor's comments and committee appointments. I got a couple things that I actually got contacted right before the meeting, about 5:30 on both of these, so I'm kind of springing them on you, Mr. Stasiak. 504, I believe it's West Cole. We had some water leaks there that the contractors did, and then our guys came back and fixed another one there, I think. And there's a mound of dirt over there, and it, I know we've had a ton of them, and we're probably playing catch up still, but it's impeding the ditch, it's impeding the lawn, it's just in bad shape. It's bad enough the guy came and picked me up, took me over there, and had me look at it instead of just telling me about it.
So Mayor, let me address this real quick so that the general public can understand this. We have about 60 locations across the city where it took everything that we had to make the repairs, make the area safe for the general public, and we are currently in the process of putting together a bid package for another contractor to come back and put all this stuff back together. Because we don't have the manpower, we don't have the capability, and to clean this up is gonna take a contractor. So we're in the process of doing it. I hope the public will be patient with us, but this is gonna take probably 1 to 2 months to get all of this put back together, because even in the areas where there is asphalt, the asphalt plants won't even open up till probably sometime in April.
Yeah.
So, we'll be going in, leveling them out, especially if they're in the roadway, and then maintaining that rock in the roadway. But this is gonna be a lengthy process to get all of this put back together.
I figured we would have so many, we would be playing catch up if we were doing them ourselves.
Yeah, so we have to get a contractor.
Okay. Well, and okay, this one is pure dirt. So if we are doing any, if you'd have someone look at it, would be great.
Certainly.
The other thing, I got a call from former Senator LeBlanc, and he lives out in Kincaid, and he was talking about the potential of getting FEMA money to work on the roads out there that were not damaged prior to the storm, that the storm actually damaged from the freezing and contracting and all of that. I told him I didn't know anything about it, but I would bring it up tonight and see if we could check into the, having been a state senator, he's got some familiarity with FEMA on it, so he didn't know that we could do it, but he said it would be something that might be worthwhile to look into.
And this is for the roads that were damaged from the storm?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, because if there were previous damage, FEMA won't pay for it.
And we're currently gathering all of that information. It has not been approved yet, but we have heard rumors that it's a possibility. So we are actually GPSing every area that was damaged, because we are up in Kincaid Hills. They had a tremendous amount of damage up there. And so we've got all the GPS coordinates. We are tracking every dime that we're spending up there. And if that becomes a possibility, we'll be prepared to submit that information.
Good. And the last thing I have is on the 12th, we're going to have a meeting in 4th Ward at Northgate Baptist Church, which is 1110 North Hickory, and it's just because 4th Ward doesn't have a council member that I'm going to go over there and just rehash what we did tonight and listen to anything that they have to say. And it's for 4th Ward, but any members, any residents of the city are welcome to attend, and any council members that would like to attend. If you are going to, please let Cora know so that if there's more than a quorum, that it could be posted. But that'll be at 5:30 on the 12th at Northgate Baptist. So with that, we'll recess the council meeting, and I would take a motion to convene as McAllister Airport Authority. The motion to include approval of minutes from February 23rd, 2021, regular meeting of McAllister Airport Authority, confirm action taken on City Council Agenda Item E5, and to adjourn. Motion, Councilman Smith. Second, Councilman Boatright. Any discussion? Corr, would you call the roll, please?
Councilman Smith,
Yes.
Boatright,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Mayor. Yes, and the motion carries. I'd now take a motion to convene as McAllister Public Works Authority. Motion to include approval of minutes from the February 23rd, 2021 regular meeting of McAllister Public Works Authority. Confirm action taken on City Council Agenda Item E, 1, 3, 4, 5, and to adjourn. Motion, Councilman Smith. Second, Councilman Boatright. Corr, would you call the roll, please?
Councilman Smith,
Yes.
Boatright,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes, and the motion carries. We'll now reconvene as the council. I would take a motion to adjourn. Motion, Councilman Smith. Second, Councilman Boatright. Any discussion? Corr, would you call the roll, please?
Councilman Smith,
Yes.
Boatright,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes, and we're adjourned. Thank you, guys. Is this for me to sign?